This meal is not only delicious, it also reduces your stroke risk by 35% when eaten every morning. One morning, you wake up and something feels off. Your grip is weaker, your step less steady. You tell yourself it is just age, yet your mornings feel rushed and unsettled in a way they never used to. This is how stroke quietly builds for more than 15 million seniors worldwide each year, according to Japan's National Institute of Health. Now, listening to this episode can prevent you from being next, because today you will discover a simple morning meal that will calm blood pressure, support circulation, and significantly reduce stroke risk when practiced consistently. Welcome back, everyone, to the Senior Health Podcast, where East meets West to help you stay strong, sharp, and independent through every season of life. Now, hear me out. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association shows that the early morning hours are one of the most dangerous windows for stroke due to blood pressure spikes, dehydration, and vascular stiffness after sleep. With that, the National Institute on Aging reports that nearly 2/3 of adults over 60 live with high blood pressure, one of the strongest predictors of stroke, and what seniors eat and drink first in the morning plays a powerful role in how the body handles that risk. So to help us understand how a simple morning routine can protect the brain and blood vessels, sitting across from me is Japan's oldest practicing physician. He is over 100 years old and still treating patients every week. Doctor, every senior needs to hear this, right?
Thank you, John. Yes, because many seniors believe strokes arrive without warning. Often they do not. In many cases, they are shaped slowly and can be prevented. What we eat each day influences the rhythm and pressure of our blood, and after 60, even foods considered healthy can shift that rhythm in the wrong direction. But the right morning choices can gently bring it back into balance.
That is such an important shift, because for many seniors listening, the confusion feels very real. You are eating healthy. You are doing what you were told was right, yet something feels off. Your balance changes, your energy fades, and you quietly wonder if this is simply what getting older feels like.
It is not just aging, it is a miscommunication within the body. I have seen this in thousands of patients whose circulation slowly loses balance, not from neglect, but from mornings that fail to support the heart and brain. That's why today I will share a simple morning meal that Japanese elders rely on to calm blood pressure, support circulation, and reduce stroke risk after 60. And if you stay till the end, you can request the recipe in the comments.
I am really glad you said that. I think of a patient who thought he did everything right, eating well, staying active, and following his doctor's advice. Yet his mornings were rushed and inconsistent. When we adjusted what he ate first thing each day, his blood pressure stabilized in a way medication alone never achieved.
I have seen that pattern again and again. Seniors are not failing their bodies. Their mornings are simply sending the wrong signals, and the first meal of the day can quietly correct that.
So let us focus on that today. This episode exists because of your questions and your stories. Let us know where you are listening from and what you want us to explore next.
Yes, and we will do our best to bring your ideas to life.
Now let us begin. What should seniors eat in the morning to protect circulation, balance, and independence?
I will reveal the meal very shortly, John. First, we must talk about what mornings do to the body after 60, since this is so often overlooked. Only then someone can understand what food works best for their body.
All right, then tell us, why do mornings matter more than we realize, especially after 60?
Well, after sleep, blood pressure naturally rises, the body is mildly dehydrated, and blood vessels are less flexible than they were decades earlier. Cortisol also peaks in the early hours, which can strain circulation if the body is rushed or startled awake. For seniors, this combination creates a narrow window where the brain and heart are more vulnerable.
I hear that a lot in seniors who say they feel stiff, foggy, or unsteady before breakfast, and many of them push through it without realizing that moment matters.
Yes, and what they do first often decides how the rest of the day unfolds. Cold, sugary, or hurried mornings send a message of stress to the nervous system. Calm, warm, and grounding mornings send a message of safety. Over years, those messages accumulate in the blood vessels.
That reminds me of patients who insist they eat well, yet admit their mornings are chaotic. It makes me wonder how much risk is hiding in that first hour.
More than most expect. In Japanese clinical practice, elders are taught that the morning is not for stimulation, but for settling the body back into itself. Warmth helps blood vessels relax, steady hydration supports flow, and simple routines lower internal resistance. This is not tradition for tradition's sake. It is physiology observed over decades.
So it is less about adding something extreme and more about removing shock from the system. That feels reassuring for seniors who are already overwhelmed.
Yes, and it is also empowering. Seniors do not need perfect diets or complicated rules to protect circulation. They need mornings that work with their biology instead of against it. When that happens, blood pressure behaves differently, inflammation settles, and balance improves quietly. This is where prevention becomes practical.
I can feel how grounded that is. It shifts the focus from fear to daily care.
And this is why the first thing consumed matters more than most people realize. Not because it is magical, but because the body is listening most closely then. What enters the system first sets the tone for the vessels and the nerves. That is where we can begin to change outcomes.
That makes me lean in. So if mornings are that sensitive, what is the very first step seniors can take when they wake up to support circulation before the meal itself?
The very first step for seniors is not food, but warmth and hydration that tells the nervous system it is safe to wake up.
That feels surprisingly simple, but also very different from how most mornings actually start.
Yes, and simplicity is the point. After sleep, the blood is thicker, the vessels are less elastic, and the brain is still recalibrating. When the first signal is warmth, the body relaxes its grip instead of tightening it.
I hear that a lot in seniors who rush straight into coffee or skip fluids altogether. They often say they feel jittery or off balance before breakfast.
Of course, because cold or stimulants arrive like an alarm bell, a warm drink arrives like a hand on the shoulder. It gently opens blood vessels, supports hydration, and steadies heart rhythm. Over time, that difference matters more than people expect.
That reminds me of patients who say their blood pressure readings are always highest in the morning. It makes sense that what they drink first could be part of that picture.
It is very much part of it. Warm water alone can reduce morning vascular resistance. Gentle teas add another layer by calming the vagus nerve, which helps regulate blood pressure and inflammation. This is especially important for seniors whose systems react more strongly than they used to, and the key here is that nothing is forced.
That feels reassuring, especially for seniors already managing medications or sensitive digestion.
Yes, and that nuance matters. Seniors on blood pressure, medication, or blood thinners should avoid extremes. The goal is not potency, but consistency and calm. A warm, mild drink supports circulation without pushing the system too hard. This is why we begin here.
I like how grounded that is. It feels like something seniors can actually stick with.
And once this first signal is in place, the body is ready to receive nourishment instead of defending itself. That is when the morning meal can truly do its work. But before we go there, it helps to understand exactly how these drinks are prepared so they stay gentle and effective.
That makes me curious, because preparation always sounds complicated until you break it down. Could you walk us through how simple this really is for seniors at home?
Of course, John. Simplicity is what makes this work for seniors at home. Start by heating water until it is warm, not boiling, because the body responds best to gentleness in the morning. From there, everything stays calm and familiar.
For that already lowers the barrier for so many seniors. They often assume anything helpful must be complicated.
Yes, and once the water is warm, the choices are very simple. Green tea can be steeped lightly for a minute. Barley tea can be prepared even milder, and a small slice of ginger with a pinch of turmeric can be infused briefly. The key here is softness in flavor and temperature.
I hear that a lot in seniors who worry about doing it wrong.
There is no wrong here, only listening. If digestion is sensitive or medications are involved, plain warm water alone is enough to begin calming circulation. What matters is the ritual, not the recipe.
That takes so much pressure off and makes this feel doable daily.
And this is why I often pause here with my patients. When seniors realize how little is required, they become open to the next step. Because once the body is warmed and steady, nourishment behaves very differently.
That creates a natural bridge in my mind from drinking to eating. So once the body has that warmth and calm, how should seniors think about the breakfast that follows?
Once the body has warmth and calm, breakfast becomes a form of protection rather than fuel. For seniors, the goal is to keep blood sugar steady, vessels relaxed, and the nervous system unprovoked. Savory breakfasts do this naturally, without forcing the body to react. They create a sense of internal stability that the brain recognizes as safety.
Rondary framing is powerful. It takes breakfast out of habit and turns it into something intentional, especially for seniors who feel fragile in the mornings.
Yes, and intention changes physiology. A breakfast built around protein tells the body there is no emergency. Eggs, tofu, or even a small portion of fish provide amino acids that slow digestion, stabilize blood sugar, and blunt cortisol release. When blood sugar stays level, blood pressure tends to follow. In Japan, researchers from the National Institute of Health and Nutrition analyzed dietary patterns in over 4,000 adults, aged 60 and older, and found that those who regularly ate protein-centered, savory breakfasts had significantly lower morning glucose variability and less sympathetic nervous system activation than those eating refined carbohydrates.
That reminds me of seniors who rely on toast or cereal because it feels light, but then they feel shaky or tired an hour later.
I hear that a lot in seniors. Refined or sweet breakfasts digest quickly and force the pancreas and blood vessels to react all at once. Over time, that repeated stress increases vascular strain. A related analysis from the Japan Public Health Center-based prospective study, which followed more than 6,800 older adults, showed that traditional Japanese-style breakfasts were associated with steadier blood pressure readings and lower cardiovascular event rates compared to Western-style breakfasts, high in refined grains. Savory meals simply ask less of the system in the morning.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when stroke risk is shaped by repetition, not just dramatic moments.
Exactly, and protein works best when paired with warmth and softness. Lightly cooked vegetables are gentler than raw ones in the morning. They provide minerals that support vessel tone without irritating digestion. The body does not want to fight food at sunrise.
That feels very aligned with what seniors tell me about sensitive stomachs after 60.
Yes, and this is where fermentation becomes helpful. Small amounts of miso, natto, or even yogurt-style foods reduce inflammation and improve communication between the gut and the brain. That connection directly affects circulation and blood pressure regulation. It is subtle but powerful when practiced daily.
That adds another layer I do not think many seniors are aware of.
Most are not. They think of digestion as separate from circulation, but the gut is deeply involved in how blood vessels behave. Fermented foods calm that system, especially when eaten in modest amounts.
It also sounds less intimidating when you describe it that way.
That is important. This is not about strict rules or perfection. Seniors can choose eggs one day, tofu another. Vegetables can be spinach, mushrooms, zucchini, or whatever feels familiar. A small amount of healthy fat, like olive oil or sesame oil, helps nutrients absorb and keeps the meal satisfying.
That flexibility makes it feel sustainable instead of prescriptive.
Yes, and sustainability is everything. Consistency matters more than variety. When the body learns what to expect each morning, internal tension drops. Blood pressure becomes more predictable. Over years, this steadiness protects the brain.
I can see how that predictability would feel comforting, especially for seniors living alone.
And it quietly replaces foods that often cause trouble in the morning. Sugary cereals, pastries, toast with jam, fruit-only breakfasts, or cold smoothies can all feel healthy. For some seniors, they are fine later in the day, just not as the first signal after waking. Timing changes their effect.
That distinction removes so much guilt around food choices.
Guilt creates stress, and stress damages vessels. Balance is what heals. A warm, savory breakfast anchors the morning and reduces internal noise. Seniors do not need to restrict themselves. They need to support their bodies when they are most vulnerable.
That feels like a very humane way to approach prevention.
And when breakfast becomes this kind of anchor, mornings stop feeling rushed inside the body. Energy flows more evenly. Blood pressure responds with less resistance. This is where small daily choices quietly change long-term outcomes.
That lands deeply for me.
Before we close this part, there is one simple detail that brings all of this together. It is something seniors often overlook, yet it determines how the entire meal is received by the body. It has nothing to do with calories or nutrients. It has to do with pace.
I am genuinely curious now. What is that one detail seniors tend to miss that makes such a difference?
It is the pace, John. Seniors often eat while standing, rushing, or thinking about the day ahead, and the body never fully receives the meal. When breakfast is eaten slowly, seated, and with a few calm breaths, blood vessels respond differently, and digestion supports circulation instead of competing with it. The quiet pause changes everything.
Such amazing advice to end this episode with. To everyone listening, please like the video, and if you need any of the recipes, just let us know in the comments. Oh, and watch this next video right now.
Yes, please.
We've picked this one especially for you.